Okay, in today class, I will going to explain the what are the services in the Angular. What are the services in the Angular? Why we use the services in the Angular? Okay, let me start. What are the services in Angular? How to and also using the services, how we get data from the API. The main concept is please mute anyone. Yeah, yeah. The main use of the service in Angular is to fetch data from the third party APIs. So basically, we are the all UI developers in the UI developers. We are maintaining we are maintaining the UI part only. All the data part is coming from the server side. From the server, we getting the data. So actually, from the backend developer, they will provide the APIs. They provide the API URL and which type of data we need to pass, and which what how we get the response. This type of information we need to take from the backend developer. Then we using the services we need to fetch the data from the API calls. So what the APIs they provided from using that API calls we need to fetch the data from that API and we need to show them in the our view part. That is the main part of the work in the Angular or any React. So fetching the data from the APIs, how to display. That also I will explain today class. Okay, what are the services in the what is the service? What is the use of the services? I will explain today. Okay, for example, I have the three components. Like in yesterday class, I explained the components and the directives files. Okay, so we can have multiple components here. The app component I have here app component, and also I have the footer component, header component. Three components is there. Okay, I want to display I want to display a name. Okay, I want to display a name in all the components. Okay, I want to display a name in all the components. So we have let's example we have three components: A component, B component, C component. I want to display some title, some message. Actually, like some message in all the components. So what you will do in all the components, you need to in all the components HTML, all the components you define the variable and showing the HTML. So in every component you need to write the same code. You need to write the same code. You need to write in the component and variable, and you need to display in the HTML. So instead of the writing in the all the components, we can put the common logic, whatever is the common information we need put in the services. From the services, we will subscribe the data. I will explain what is subscribe also. So, if there is any common data or any common information, we need to maintain the different components. Instead of the different in each individual components, we need to put that logic in the service. Okay, from the service we can get the data. So if we want to change, if we do the change in service, automatically wherever we call the service, it will automatically change. Okay, wherever we calling the service, that automatically change. So if you change in the service, automatically the A component will change, B component will change, C component will change. So service is a singleton object that gets once only during the lifetime of the applications. Okay, that means singleton objects. There is a design pattern. The design patterns like singleton design pattern. For example, we have a class. We can create the instance object every time. So throughout the application, we have only one object. We already initially we create the an object. We can use that object only. So in singleton object, only one object there. We did not create again and again that object. We need to take the existing object and we need to use that object in all the components. So we create a service class. From the service class, we create the instance. Only that instance we use in all the components. Only the singleton object we use into all the components. Because to maintain the common code, we use the services. Okay, okay. Next, how to now we have the service class. We have service and how to use the service in the components. Using the dependency injection concept, I will use the service class in all the components. I will explain clearly. Before that, so I think people got understanding what is the service. Service is a singleton object which maintain the common information for the required components. So to elaborate, what you say is that we have three components: A component, B component, C component. Instead of writing the same code in all the components, I will pull that common code and put in the service file. From the service file, I will get data from in all the components. So if you want to change the data in the service file, automatically wherever we call the service, the components also it will change. Okay, this is the brief explanation of the services. Okay, now let's how to create and how to use the common information and how to fetch the data from the API. I will explain in this class. Okay, to create the service we have command like ng g service. To create the component, we have the command like ng g component. In the same thing, if you want to create the service, ng g service, the service name. Let's think so you can think in let's think my service is something like user service. Okay, let's think my service is user service. Okay, so once I run the command, a service file with the name users will created. Let's see. See, I got two files. One is the service class file. One is spec file. Spec file I already told you to write the test cases. Okay. Mainly we focusing on class file. So I got our class file like user the service. So this is the main basic things. For to create any to create to for the component class, for the directive class, for pipe class, we have the three basic things. One is we need to import the required common core library. We need the decorator. We have a class. These three things in the common in all the component. For example, in the component, we need to import the component. We need the decorator. We need the class file. At the same time, in the directive also we have the same thing. As the different directive. So the directive, we need to import the directive. We have the directive decorator. We have a class. The same way, service also we need to import the code library injectable. So the decorator is injectable decorator, and we have the class. In injectable decorator, we have the option provider in root. This means this service is applicable for all the we can inject the service in this service. We can limit the service. We create one service file. We can use the service file only some particular pages, not throughout the application. We can limit this only particular module, not throughout the module. If we want to use the service throughout the module, then we use the put root. Then the service is available in all the we can use this service in all the components. If we put the provider in root value, we can use service in all the required components. We can limit the we can restrict the usage of the service file by changing this value. You can check like that one. For now, for injectable decorator, we use the provider in value root. That means the service is available the root module for all the components in the application. Now that's it. Yeah. So this way we create the service. Now come do the logic. For example, I have it. I said I have a message. Okay, that's right. I have a message. Okay, public. I need to define the variable same message. I given the type string. So hello, welcome. Now this message I want to display in all the components. Now in my application I have the three components. What are the app component is there, header component is there, footer component is there. I want to display this in your mind. I want to use this message in all the components. So how we do it? How we can do it? Okay. For that one, I need to, for example, I want to use this once we create the service, we need to check the service in the module file or not. Let's go to the module file. In the module file, in the providers, we need to give the service. For example, yesterday I created the decorator, the directive. After creation of the directive, I need to give the directive name in the declaration in the module file. In the same way, we need to give the service file in the provider section. In the provider in the module. Once we create the service file, we need to mention the service file in the app module. So my service name is user service. So I need to put in the provider section. I need to put in the I need to integrate in the provider section. Okay. So here I create the user service. This user service I integrated in the providers I put in the providers module. That means now this service is available for all these components. Okay. So in this way, once we create the service file, we need to put in the module file. Next, now we need to use the service file in the app component. Okay, to use the service in the app component, we need to inject the service in the app component. For that one, in the component class we have a constructor, right? In that constructor, define a variable. Okay, define a variable like user service user I give a name user user scr. So here I give the user service file. So that means here I need to private. Okay, so that means now I inject the service file in the app component. I inject the service file in the app component constructor. This is called dependency sections. Why dependency? What is the dependency injection? In a class, whatever dependency you need to inject them in the constructed file. So in the class sometimes we need the dependency. In a class we need some dependence. We need to inject the dependency in the constructed file. In here in the app component file, okay, in the app component file, we are injecting the user service. We are injecting the user service in the constructor with the name user. This name. This is called dependency injections. So if you want to use the user service for this component, you need to inject first. So you injected in a name. You injected in this name, right? Users. You people understand?
Sir,
Yeah.
why use private and public?
This is called access modifiers. See, access modifier means, for example, this variable is there. Okay, you are using this variable in the string file also, right? For example, you can use, for example, I have variable this. Okay, I can use this variable in string file also, right? Like this, right? You understand?
No, sir.
I have a variable. This variable. Let's go skip this one. Let's I have a variable in this class. This variable, right?
Right.
So I want to use this variable in HTML file, right? Like this. You know this, right? Data binding, right?
Yes.
So I have a variable in the class. I want to variable outside the class. Then use the public. That means we can use this variable outside the class also. Okay? You can understand?
Okay. Variable have public. Public. Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. If you are not given the public, by default it's taken the public. If you're not given the public,
Okay.
by default it's taken as public. For example, if you take the private, let's give the private, okay, it gives the error. We cannot use here. See, it gives the error. See, it's showing that it's a private. So that means sometimes we need to secure our data of the component class. Only in the class only we need to use. Then we need to use the private. If we want to use the public, then use the public. Okay, outside the class, then use the public. Okay. So here I use here this service
Okay,
I
sir.
need to use inside the class only. I don't use outside the class. That's why I inject the service in the component constructor. I give the
So, sir.
yeah.
Why? Why?
Tell me
Why?
why?
Why use? Why need? Why need?
Which one?
Because variable are not apply public, then it is a work same, right?
Yeah. Why use this service is only I need to use inside the class only. I don't use the outside the class. This service, user service, I want to use inside the class. That's why I use the private. Okay, I don't want to use the outside the class. You got it?
Okay, sir.
You got it right? I want to inject.
Sorry.
I want to inject the service and I want to use it inside the class only. I don't want the outside the class. Okay? Now I
Okay,
inject
sir.
the service in the component class context. This is called dependency injection. That means that sometimes the class needs some dependencies. We need to inject them into our class. We need to inject them into our class. Though that is called service dependency. Raman local. So this is so we need to inject the required dependencies in our class. In the constructor of the class, that is called dependency injection. Sometimes what is the dependency injection? Then you need to answer. We have a class. Sometimes we need dependencies for this class. We need to inject the dependencies into our class constructor. This process is called dependency injection. Here we need the user service. That's why I inject into our in a app component construction. Now I got the access for the this one. I got the user service access. Now from that user service access, I use the variable message. Okay. Now now for here I have here I have title. For this title I am using the from the service variable. So here I have the service. Now I have the user service in this variable, right? So from this variable I want to use this variable value message, right? That means, for example, okay, I got it. So first I define the message. I define the I did not give any value. Okay, I did not give any value. Okay, no. Okay, now I want to assign the value to the title from the users from this service. I want to use the message. Here is giving the error because the title value is boolean, but I am assigning the string. So here I will just change string. So now you clearly understand. I have a variable in the component class. I am assigning a variable to this, assigning a value from the service variable. I am assigning the this message value to the component variable. So from the service variable, I'm taking the value from the message. Then I am assigning to this one. Okay. So if you display here title, for example, if you display title here, what value it will display? So what is the value in the service that will display? So that's why what I did I create a service. In the service I have the message. In this message I am showing the app component, right? So for that one I create a service. I inject the service in my app component constructor. From this service I taken the message variable and assigned to my variable. Okay. Now what is the output? Let's see. What will be the output? What will be the output now? Hello. What?
Hello, welcome.
Yeah. So whatever I given the value is good. The hello welcome, right? So I'm running the application now. So now I'm running the application. Okay, I'm running the application now. Now you got the see in the in the service class also. Here I give the public. That's why I am able to use this message in the outside the service class also, right? For example, if I give the private here, sorry, if I give the private here, okay, we cannot use the message here. See, give the error, right? Understand, right? So if you
Yes,
want
yes.
any variable
Yeah,
outside the
right, sir.
class, then I use the public. Okay, then I use the public. Then so let's see what is the output. Let's see what is the output. See, hi, hello, welcome. So I have a message in the user service. I use in the app component. In the same way, I want to use in the other component. I want to use in the header component. So what you will do same way. You need to in the constructor. In the constructor, you give a name like any name where you wish. Okay. I need to I need to integrate I need to inject the service. Okay. Here also I create the variable something like public. Okay. Okay, head title. This is string. Okay, for this head title. Okay, for this head title here. Okay, for this head title. Both different. For this head title, I'm taking the value from the service. So so you are getting the error. Why? So I integrate the so head title is string. Here, yeah, here I need to use this dot us. Okay, okay, and message is does not exist. What is the user service? I have the value message, right?
Yeah, yes. Apply here public.
Okay, you want to apply here public. Otherwise, you can give the initial value like empty value. Here you can give the empty value. Okay, like this, you can give the empty value initially. After that, otherwise you can give the constructor. You can give the ng on it as you wish. So I take in the data. I take in the data from the user service and assign the value to this component. So now I also get the header component. Let's see. The app component, I did not use the header component. If I put the header component here now, or the header component constructor, I think app header. So I have the this is the app in the app component. I put the header component also. Perfect, man. In the app component, in the app component, I integrate the header component also. Now I got the two values. See, hello, welcome, and this is header. Why in header value it's not coming? Why? Because in header component, I just assign the variable. I did not use this variable in the HTML file. Yeah, okay. So here now I use the this variable into HTML file. Okay. See. So now I got the in the app component and also header component. So I define a variable in the user service. This variable I use this variable inject the in the app component and header component also. How I inject the service and use that variable. Okay, right? I use the same thing header component as I inject the service. I use that variable. You understand, right? So I have a common class. This is the common service file. From the service, I injected in the two required components and I use that value. This is how I use the service in the Angular. So for the common information, I put the service. Wherever I want, I use that one. Okay, you understand, right? Services.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now the main use of the services is fetch. The main use of the service is to fetch the data from the API calls. To fetch the data from the API calls, and we need to use that one. Okay. So in service, so what happens is we have a API. We have API data. We get the data. I want to use that data in A component, in B component, C components. So every time we need to get data from the API and it display. Instead of writing again and again in all the components, the getting data from the API put in the service. After that, wherever I want to use that variable. Use that one. Okay. For that one, let's take backend developer given I given a backend developer given this URL, this API URL. This is a response. He said use this API URL. This is the API URL. You will get the response like this. Now, so this is the API. I want to fetch data from this API. I need to display in my public or private something HTTP. Okay. I use the library HTTP client. I need to import this library. Okay, this is not must be available. Okay, client, CLIENT, right? What is spelling HTTP client? So, we need to import the correct library HTTP client. We need to, for that one we need to include the HTTP module in our module file. We need the HTTP module first. HTTP module, just include the HTTP module. Okay, HTTP. So it's showing that this is not available because in our package.json, in our package.json, there is no HTTP related thing. There is no HTTP related thing. But okay, then there is no HTTP related thing. Actually, in the common we have. Okay, for example, let's try to import. Okay, import HTTP client. Let's see it is available or not. Let's see. Actually, it must be in the common folder. We must have the HTTP thing. So this one. So I think this is the wrong name. Maybe quick fix. This is the name HTTP client. Okay. Okay. So I need to import the core library HTTP client. Using this HTTP client, I will get the data from the API. Okay. I integrate this core library. I give it a name. Using this name, so now I got a variable HTTP. So this dot HTTP. To get data from the API, we have different methods in the APIs. Get, post, put. So we have different types of the methods. Delete, get. For now, so to working with the API, we need to understand what is the API URL, what is the method, what is the request data we need to pass if need, what is the response. These four things we need to know. To work with any API, we must know what is the URL, okay, what is the method, what is the request data we need to pass, that is called payload, what is the response we need to get from the service. Okay, actually he given this URL. He said this is the URL, the method is the get, and we don't need any input, we don't need any payload, we get the response. So first API URL, this one, method is get, there is no request data, response is like this. So I got all the information from the API. Okay, if the class is the Zoom class is over, you can start design again, not a problem. Okay, no, so now I use the get method, right? I said the users, the backend developer said use the get method. Get method. The first variable is the URL. What is the API URL? Okay, I got this is the API URL. Okay, this is the API URL. Okay, so this HTTP got will return the observable. Okay, what is the observable? What is subscriber? Observable means we got the data from the we got the data from the API. It is in the observable. It is in the observable. Okay, we got the data from the API. It is in the observable. Okay, we need to subscribe data from wherever we want. We can, the data is in observable. So what, when we call this method, the observable take the data from the put in the observable. We can place, we can use anywhere, we can subscribe anywhere we want. That is concept of the called observable and subscriber. We can use that is the concept called observable and subscriber. So we get the data from the server, we put in the observable. So this HTTP dot get returns the observable. Okay. Now wherever we want, we can subscribe the data. This is concept called the observable. We get the data from the put in the observable. We can subscribe wherever we want. Okay. So that's why this HTTP get return the observable. The type here, type we need to mention, this function returns the observable. Observable. Okay. So we need to this like the observable type, observable of any object, any type. So it is any just is any type, because I did not use return statement. That's it. Tell the error. So this HTTP get return the observable of any type. Let's take any type. Okay, this is so now we get the data from the API. It returns the observable. No. So we get the data from the API. We have here in the service. We have here. Now wherever we want, we need to subscribe. Okay. So I want to have the app component. So in the app component, here I want to get the data. I want to see how to get data. So where is the this observable now in the service file? This is the method. So here service is US. Let's go to the app component first. Okay. So where is now I have the ng on it method. I will explain what is the ng on it all those things later. Those are called life cycle hooks. I will explain later classes, further classes. Okay. Now from the service, what is service? This is service. My service is this is my service. That means from in this service I have a method get users, right? I have a method get users. So up to this part I got observable. From this observable I need to subscribe. Then only I will get the response. So I need to subscribe. For the subscribe. For this subscribe method I need to give the arrow function, like this arrow function. This is the arrow function. In JavaScript you understand, this is the arrow function call. This is called arrow function. So up to this point is observable. From this observable I am subscribing data. So in subscribe data I am using arrow function. For the arrow function I will get the response. You can like use a variable. So in this variable I have the response. Let's just print this. Just print. Just print. We will get the data or not. Okay. Let's see. So what I did from the user service, we have the get users method. It returns the observable. From this observable, I subscribe the data. Now the subscribe data is give the response. It is in the this variable. Okay. I printed this variable. Let's see the output how in the console. Okay. I'm going to console here. There is an error. Something like user service no provider for HTTP client. That means we need to use HTTP module in the here. I think so. We need to use the HTTP module in the. We need to use the HTTP client. We need to use the HTTP module is there. HTTP client module. Okay. Less than HTTP client is available. Available. Okay. See, we got response, right? We got response, right? So this response I got in the application. See, the API call, whatever API call we need to check in the debugger, we need to go to the network tab. There is a we need to click here. Then if you run here, then you can check our API call, working done. So this is the API call. This is the API call. I call, right. I call get. The method is get. So the status student means I got the response correctly. So there is no request data. I got the response like this. You understand, right? So in this way you can check our API calls. How this will happen? Because in the service call, in the service file, I did this. I did this. That's why this API call here. So I get a response like this. We need to debug our API calls working right. Our code is correctly getting the data from API or not. We need to check here. So what is the URL we are URL? What is the request data we are passing? How we are getting the response? We can check here. Okay. In this way, we are getting the data from the API. It returns the observable. So to get the data from the API, first we need to integrate the HTTP client. Using that HTTP client, we need to use the get method, post whatever we method. Then you give the API well. There is second argument also. Sometimes we need to pass headers. Headers. Why headers we use is sometimes some APIs are very secure. So to call their APIs, we need to pass some tokens. We need to pass some tokens. For API, for every API call, we need to pass some access token. For security purpose, we need to pass some we need to pass some API calls. Okay, we need to pass some API calls. Okay, those all those header information we need to in the second argument. Okay, first argument is URL, second argument is headers. For this API call, we don't need the headers. That's why we don't mention. Any doubts? Any doubts? So in this way, we get the data from the service, which returns the observable. Subscribe this is observable in my component like this. Now I got the data. Now I want to see, I want to display this data into my application. Okay. For that one, I declare the variable users. Okay. It is the array of array. This is the array of objects, right? Just in array of any. Okay. So I declare the variable. I give the empty array. Okay. I give the now I assign the data from the response data to the user table. Okay. This does users equal to res. In the response, I have the data res. Now I assign this data to the users variable. That means I assign this response, right? Whatever I get the response, this response I assign to this users array. Now go to the HTML. Okay. Now go to the HTML. Okay. Let's take. I want to create one table. So create the header row. What is the header row? Like name. What is the username and what is the city? Those only we are getting information, like. So those only we are getting the response. Only name city, name city. Now I want to show this data here. So let's take the second. This is the header row. This is the header row. Now I want to prepare the body rows. So what are the repeating rows are repeating? Rows are repeating. So I need to use the ng for here. What are the repeating? There I use the structural directory ng for. Right? Yesterday class I explained. Ng for equal to where I need to take data from users array. I have the users array in my I have the users data. I have users data. I assign the API data to this users. Okay, to this users. From this users array, I am repeating. So every time I am getting the user. So here I write like. So please join again. Okay. So please join again. Is again. Just a minute. Please rejoin. Just a minute. Then they will rejoin. So here we are getting the array of objects, user objects. From the users option, we need to display data. Next thing is they will rejoin. I think so. Next thing the students will rejoin again. So in the now I'm going display. I'm going to share my screen. So now I got the data in the users object from this users and into repeating. I'm displaying data like this. So in the users data, what I have in the users data, I have user name property, city property, right? So every time I got a user object, from the user object I need to show the username first. User.name. Okay. Second also I will need to display city. So you people understand total flow, how the flow is working. We create in the service. I create a method. In this method, I using the HTTP client. I get the data from the URL. So this method will return the observable of this user's data. Now I inject the service in my app component. From the service, I call the get users method and subscribe the data. Thus data I assign to my users variable. So from this users array, I am displaying here. I am repeating this data and displaying it. Let's see output. Let's see my output.
Sir, please change the user dot city.
See, you just sorry, users are city. Yeah, second argument is city. So I got the data. See, username city. So from the API URL, I am displaying data in my application, my YAML application. This is the main assignment you need to work. So you need to practice how the API URL, how to display this API, how to get the data from the API URL, how to display in my view. So for that only I create the service. I create a service, user service. In service file, I use the HTTP client. I create a method get users. In get users using the HTTP client, using the get method, I give the API URL. It returns the observable. Now I inject the service into my component. In this component, from the service I call the get users method. Then I got the observable. From that observable, I subscribe the data. I got the response. Now I assign this response to my users variable. Okay, from that users variable in my HTML, I display the data. This is how we fetching the data from API. So I think now you understand the what is the service, what is service, what is the use of service, how to fetch the data from the API calls, what are the observables, what are the subscript. I think you understand. That's it for today class. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Thanks for joining. Any doubts? So this is just practice yourself. Take some mock URL. Practice yourself. Then you get idea. Okay. That's it for today class. Okay. Bye.
Okay, thank you, sir.